introduce myself again on this channel. It's been a while. Oh yeah, here we are. Let's compare the Xiaomi 15 Ultra and the Vivo X200 Ultra from a different perspective than just photography. Let's talk about the daily experience of both of them. Naturally, when it comes to comparisons, especially between phones like this, a lot comes down to the camera. But the camera is also the hardest section to really compare phones like these, because personal preference really comes to play, especially with how both of them approach it. However, the experience is very different. Xiaomi has a really nice color contrast when it comes to the camera and the capabilities of it, where Vivo doesn't have that same color contrast, but still is very reliable, where the Xiaomi can be unreliable when it comes to the camera. There I would say, because of that, it really depends on how much you are willing to take some extra shots for the Xiaomi 15 Ultra versus the more reliable Vivo X200 Ultra. And then always it comes down to personal preference in terms of their style as well. Of course, a more depth in comparison when it comes to the camera, I will place a link in the description for that. But when it comes to the camera, again, what really matters is what kind of style you prefer. However, one thing that we cannot ignore when it comes to a comparison between the Xiaomi 15 Ultra and the Vivo X200 Ultra are some daily use things. Battery life has been really poor on the Xiaomi. Not only does the phone heat up more, because yes, the Vivo X200 Ultra also heats up, but not anywhere near what the Xiaomi does. But when it comes to battery life on the Xiaomi, it's definitely poor. It's hard to make it till the end of the day, especially if you love photography. And that is a phone like this made for the photography, for the video capabilities. So when you're not making it till the end of the day, it's really hard to recommend a phone like this for a camera, because simply put, you will miss out on opportunities simply because the battery life has been so poor on it. I maybe reach about 4 or 5 hours of screen on time, but that's about it. I've heard that the Chinese version does have a better battery life, quite substantially, but when it comes to the global release of it, it's really hard to make it till the end of the day with a phone like this, and therefore it's really hard to recommend it for a normal day-to-day use and a reliable camera, because when it's empty, it's never reliable. When it comes to the Vivo X200 Ultra, however, battery life is much better. Recently I went to Berchtesgaden in Germany. The drive was about, let's say, 10-11 hours or so, and I used this as the navigation. It was close, but I made it with the Vivo X200 Ultra when it comes to battery life. It's not on the level as the X200 Pro. That one definitely has the best battery life I've ever tested on any phone I've used. But when it comes to battery life on the Vivo X200 Ultra, it's substantially better than the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. That really matters in day-to-day life. If you love listening to music, if you love watching videos and so on, the Vivo X200 Ultra simply will outperform the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. However, do keep in mind that this is a Chinese version, and therefore if you plan to buy something like this, for instance via Trading Syngin, link in the description for an affiliate link, then of course you have to keep in mind which bands this support versus what your provider supports. Do keep that in mind when buying something like a phone that is outside of the global releases. That being said, Android Auto works on it, and of course Google Pay works as well. I've been using it on this phone. When it comes to the screen for both, I would say there isn't much between them. Both are excellent displays for day-to-day use. I would say in terms of brightness, for instance, I haven't noticed much difference here between the two. We can talk all about the nits, but the experience has been that both of them are pretty good when it comes to outside environments, especially when the sun is there. It's bright enough for me to use it. I wouldn't say one clearly wins over the other when it comes to that brightness. When it comes to software, again, we're gonna talk about personal preference here, and that part is really down to you. I'm fine with either of them. I think both of them work smooth enough. Yes, they sometimes have their stutter issues when it comes to YouTube, but that's very minimal for me. But it is noticeable, and I've had that with a lot more phones recently. I don't know what is up with that one. But when it comes to just day-to-day use in software experience, I'm fine if I have my own gallery app, because I don't like Google Photos. I really don't. It's a mess, and I hate Google Photos. I don't understand where someone likes it. It's messy, the overview is just poor. And when it comes to Vivo and Xiaomi, lucky enough, we have our own gallery app, and they are much better than Google Photos, by far, which isn't very hard. Then of course, when it comes to the Vivo X200 Ultra, of course, when you buy the phone, you actually get the charger included. Again, of course, this is going to be a different plug for most people, but with the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, you don't get one at all, and therefore I would say, doesn't really matter. You just buy a converter and you got it sorted. So that's a shame. And of course, we also have to talk about their own experience when it comes to the camera kit that you get with it. Well, you can buy with it. The Xiaomi has a very minimal approach when it comes to the camera kit. It's very smooth in terms of how you hold it. But I would say the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is also a little bit easier to hold because of that. Especially with the camera kit on it, it's just a little bit easier to grip it properly. Where with the Vivo X200 Ultra, it's more bulky when it comes to the experience of it. But I will say, when it comes to attaching the grip itself, that feels far more secure than on the Xiaomi itself. And therefore I would say I prefer the kit on the Vivo X200 Ultra. Not to mention that you can actually get an additional lens with it that allows you to zoom in much more and get far more details than you would get natively with the periscope on both of these. Because of course, both of them are sharing the HP9 sensor. However, with the lens attached, the Vivo X200 Ultra clearly beats what the Xiaomi is capable of. Either way, when it comes to the end of this comparison, I would say both of them are good devices. They have their strength and they have their weaknesses. But the weaknesses on the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is battery life, and therefore that one is more substantial than the weaknesses on the Vivo X200 Ultra, where for instance with the camera, I think it lacks soul compared to what we get on the Xiaomi. But if you don't make it till the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It beats all the arguments that you have for it, because when it comes to the Xiaomi, I don't make it to the end of the day. When it comes to the Vivo X200 Ultra, I do, and that really matters in a day-to-day life. It really matters if you want to capture that moment and your battery isn't empty yet. So yeah, therefore, I would say for me, my personal preference is the X200 Ultra. Even if I like the profile better when it comes to the camera on the Xiaomi, if it's empty, it's hard to capture that shot. And therefore, it's really hard to recommend something like the Xiaomi 15 Ultra when it comes to that battery life. That's simply too poor, especially for this global version. And yes, I could get the Chinese version, but then it really makes it hard to really showcase what the phone is capable of for most people who will buy it globally. Because I would say battery life is excellent, and then imagine you buying it and you get poor battery life. It would be unfair for me to tell you you get great battery life when it actually doesn't have that, because you got the global version of it. Either way, I do hope that you enjoyed this comparison between the Vivo X200 Ultra and the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Let me know which one out of these two you would pick, because I think it's a hard choice. If battery life was excellent on both, it would be even a harder choice between the two. But right now, because of the battery life, I go the X200 route. But I'm curious, which one has your take out of these two? And how much does the camera matter over, of course, battery life for you? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you did enjoy the video, that has taken a while to finally make a new one for this channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and everything like that. And of course, if you want to check out a full camera comparison, I will leave a link in the description and pinned on the comment, so you can check that full camera comparison out as well. Anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and of course, talk to you guys in the next.